Привет из Сингапура. С вами передача «Голубь мира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about the game of Go and let's start with the definition.
Go, it's a kind of game which could be played on the table, like a chess, like some other games, and it is very ancient. And if we are talking about China or close to the China countries, they play Go like 300 years or even more, and this is very famous. Who play chess think that chess is quite complicated, but Go is much more complicated. And if it was a time when Garry Kasparov, who was the best in chess, was asked by Alphabet or Google if he wants to play with a supercomputer in chess. And Garry Kasparov was hesitating. Is it okay to be first man who denied to play with computer, or it is okay to be the first man who will lose to the computer? And apparently he lose. Then was the same situation. I don't remember the very famous player. Maybe he not from China but from Japan. But anyway, he also lose to the computer. It was a set of 10 games and he was very upset. After this time, it was like 2 or 3 years when Go was unbeatable as a computer. But after this, there are several men who managed to win the computer. So Go, it's just one game which didn't поддалась. Как будет? Не поддалась?
Let's win.
Didn't get to be win by the computer. So it's quite interesting. So even artificial intelligence, which is so important and has so many calculated power, didn't manage to play better than a human brain.
And I think this story actually was quite famous because there was even a movie about this AlphaGo system that actually was playing with a human, all of the backgrounds and stuff. So before we talk about fundamentals, I'm actually curious why the game of the Go is actually a skill.
When we will take, for example, playing cards or some other games, they are quite simple. They have not so many numbers of combination, and we could make this by theory of probability or theory of the games. But Go is much more powerful. It is not just the rules; it is way of thinking. And a lot of people who play in Go for 50 or 60 years, and they are quite unbeatable. When we're talking about billiard or about chess or some other games, they didn't help for people to live or to make business, but Go, it helps. Go, it's about patience. Go, it's about strategy. Go, it's about to have the same vision, but to make another moves.
This is quite interesting. So let's talk about fundamentals of such a great game.
First level of fundamentals, it's quite easy. All this, I don't know how to say, fishki,
Pieces.
this is pieces are same range. When we talk about, for example, chess, there are a lot of pieces which have different way how to move, and some of them more valuable and some less. But in Go, they are quite same. This first. Second, you could beat any amount of your enemy pieces by putting your piece on the one line above the enemy pieces. And after one move, you could make so many you want, or you can, while you are beat the pieces of enemy, you could go. Например, в шахматах вы можете походить, побить фигуру, и после этого ваши ходы остановятся. But Go is not the same.
So in terms of the levels of mastery, I actually already touched on a couple of them. There is actually could be a computer level of mastery, but starting from the beginner to the proficient player, what are the levels?
First level, just to have the same amount of pieces on the table. So when you beat it, you beat. Second level is sometime to put some your pieces out of the table to show your wish to win with the handicap. And last way, when you start the game and you give up, сдаетесь, and you give up a lot of pieces, and when you have just single, you start to move, and with one piece you take out of the table all the pieces of enemy.
So it sounds that professionalism is actually could be disproportional, or like the reverse proportion of the number of pieces that you have and still manage to win. My next question will be about common mistakes people make when they're trying to play Go.
A lot of people who start to play Go, they just want to know rules and they start to make rounds, and they are very happy when they could beat a piece of the enemy. But this is not enough. Much better when you will make not many moves. For example, it's very efficient when you use or just pick up just one piece or several pieces and all other are standing. There are several levels how to play the game. First, you wait until the table became empty because of the enemy moves. Second, you do not touch a lot of your pieces, and they are blocking some moves of the enemy. So, получается, есть две стратегии. Первая — максимально освободить доску и ходить, а вторая, наоборот, минимально освободить доску и on the crowded table are going to win.
And when it comes to applying what you can learn from Go to a real life, could you give any examples? For example, when it comes to business or planning strategies for corporate solutions, or maybe even the personal life?
When I was starting to play in Go, it was in China. Then I continued to play in Korea and also in Japan. And it was very funny because I was moving as any other pupil of the game. First, my wish was to beat as many as I can. Second is to make as less move to win as I can. And last one, to see how your enemy will hesitate and even to be nervous. So you are staying calm and you just take your time, you make calculations, you look for the table from helicopter view, and also you see yourself, your enemy, and the game from outside.
And when it comes to popularity of the game, I think the Go was kind of popular, and by popularity, I don't mean the widespreading, but I mean the I would say market popularity. So chess is still kind of considered so-called number one choice. And again, like I'm putting this into quotes. So why Go is not popular or not that common in the world comparing to other games?
It depends from the country. For example, if we'll take China or India or Bangladesh, these three countries have population in total like half of our civilization, and they play Go. But if you will go to our shop, you will find tables to play for chess. Not too many people sell game of Go, but they sell backgammon, nardi,
Backgammon.
backgammon, and also chess. The reason is they are hardly to produce. But for example, it was at a time when I was in China and we started to look what game to play. We were going from one city to another and it was take us like 6 hours. Suddenly I thought, say if we have some candies with different colors, and we bought several boxes or packet of this Skittles, and we started to play with Skittles, and we just put it on the table, and it was easy. You couldn't play in such a way with chess. Okay, when you are in prison or in jail, you can make the pieces from for example, from soap or from bread, but to play with Go, it's enough even to take gaika boot nut
Probably bolt.
just with bolts or pills.
So it sounds that the game is like very simple, has a lot of background, and actually could be used in a different philosophical interpretations. So my last question will be how knowing about the game of Go could help to make this world a better place.
I think there are two thoughts we should take into account. First, Go is very simple. Second, it is very strategical. And if we will take into account all other games, they are quite complicated and it is hard to learn. But Go could be used even for people who do not know literacy, and they can play with stone or some other stuff which could be in your room, even with Lego pieces.
Играйте в Go, а мы рассмотрели навык Go и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!